Good afternoon from Vietnam. Good morning to you, Professor Kurt. Thanks a lot for spending your morning to join and to share your amazing journey to our global audience. And on behalf of the listeners around the world, we want to say thank you to you.
I have to say thank you. Thank you so much for this invitation. I'm really looking forward to talk to you.
Yeah, Professor Kurt, like we say before this conversation start, you haven't been to our country, so if you and your friends, your family decide to travel to this part of the world, please let us know, and we will be so happy to take you and your friends to see how beautiful our culture and our people here. Okay.
Thank you so much. I have so many friends that have been to your country, and they are so excited. So it's definitely on my bucket list.
Absolutely, absolutely. And for a little taste of our beautiful culture, it's a great honor for us to have you to share a little bit about who you are, the work you are doing. Would you please do that for us, please?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I am a professor of strategic management at Innsbruck University. And I focus on disruptive innovation, on business model innovation, and on leadership. I am also engaged in executive education. I am a director of an executive MBA program here at MCI in Innsbruck. I am also partner of a consulting firm. And I have a passion. I'm an ultracyclist, and ultracyclist means I do very long distances on my bike. I also do some races, and I have the privilege to combine cycling with raising funds for the eradication of polio.
Wow. And I know that you guys been raising a lot of money for that fund to eradicate polio. So it's very noble of what you've been doing. But you only introduced your journey to us in less than 90 seconds. And it's not fair for our audience, okay? So this conversation is designed, Professor Kurt, to go through the journey for everybody to understand and how you lead into what you are doing today. And so we need to travel time. Would you travel time with me?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So I was born in Italy, and I grew up there in northern Italy, and then I studied at Innsbruck University. And here I did my academic career. I did my PhD here, and also my habilitation. Habilitation is what is needed in Austria to become a full professor. And I have also spent many years abroad in the United States. I was a visiting professor twice in the United States. I spent a whole year at Bocconi University in Italy, in Milan. I had positions as a professor at several universities, among them University of Bolzano in Italy for 3 years, and University of Klagenfurt and University of Linz. So that is my academic career, and about 25 years ago, I joined IMP, which is a consulting firm, which is a spin-off of Innsbruck University. That consulting firm started as a research project at Innsbruck University, focusing on customer satisfaction, because that was one of my first research areas. And that consulting firm became quite successful with offices in several countries now. And my role in this consulting firm is more kind of scientific advisor. And we do also a lot of research together, trying to help companies to innovate their business models, to develop disruptive strategies. And disruptive innovation is one of my research priorities. I was very lucky to be a co-author of the German edition of Innovator's Dilemma with Clayton Christensen, Harvard University, and then a few years later, we started a research project on strategy, on open strategy, because we believe that the way companies do strategy isn't successful anymore. And we published a book about it. It's titled Open Strategy. It came out in 2021, MIT Press. And it was quite successful. It was translated in 7 different languages, and it was the strategy book of the year in 2021, and it also won some awards. And in 2023, I published another book. It's titled The High Performance Mindset. And the high performance mindset describes what leaders can learn from extreme sports. About 25 years ago, I started cycling, and it became a passion. And, I started with a few friends, and they did a very long race in Norway called Styrkeproven, the Great Trial of Strength, which is a 540-kilometer non-stop race in Norway. And they asked me to participate, and that was about 20 years ago, and I participated, and I really liked it to cycle non-stop for about 20 hours.
Wow.
And so I got into long-distance cycling, and a couple of years ago, in 2016, a friend of mine, Bob McKenzie from Tulsa, Oklahoma, founded a team called Team Rotary Rams Polio. And I'm a Rotarian. I'm a member of a Rotary Club here in Innsbruck. And his idea was to combine the passion of cycling with raising funds to eradicate polio. So I became a member of this Race Across America team. It was a 4-man team, and we did a Race Across America 4 times as a team, and then I decided to try it solo. And Race Across America solo means you do 5,000 kilometers across the United States in less than 12 days. And I successfully finished this race in 2022. And since then, I have done some other races as well. And as an academic, of course, I was interested in what leaders can learn from extreme sports. And so I published this book, High Performance Mindset.
Wow.
So that was more than 90 seconds, I guess.
Yes, but we are going to travel farther from 25 years ago. So you mentioned that you were born in Italy, right? And so that is the beginning. But there's from that beginning to 25 years ago, there's a gap missing in there. Okay, so we want to travel back into when you were childhood. And we want to know how you growed up and what dreams did you have when you as a little boy? What dreams do you think about yourself and the works you're going to do in the future, though?
Well, I grew up in a small village in the Alps, in the mountains in northern Italy, in South Tyrol. And I went to school there, and I remember that I always really loved sports. I did a lot of sports. I did, of course, I played soccer, volleyball, basketball. I was a high jumper, so I did a lot of sports. I practiced sports every day, and I trained every day once or twice. So at school I was good, but I was not great. And when I was a teenager, I focused so much on sport that my grades at school really went from good to almost bad. So my mother was a little bit concerned about that, because I really was so much into sports. But then when I went to high school, I had to make a decision, and I decided I want to go to university. So then I started to work hard for the school, and I did well in high school in the last year. So when I was 18, then I decided to study business administration at Innsbruck University. So that was my first years of my life in a nutshell.
So at the age of 18, you can choose to become a, study in psychology, in physiology, in medical field, anything. Why business administration, Professor Kurt?
That is a good question. It was not a very deliberate decision. I studied business administration because I wanted to study something that guarantees me that I get a decent job, and that was business administration. I also considered law, but in the end, I opted for business administration because I was sure if I have a degree in business administration, I will find a good job and can earn a living. So that was the reason. But then during my studies, I really developed a passion for this topic. I really got interested in it, and still before I submitted my master thesis, I was sure I want to become a professor of business administration, because what I really loved was writing papers, doing research, and teaching. So that was what I really was interested in. So then I decided to do my PhD, and then I was sure that was the right decision, and that was a calling, because I love the Japanese concept ikigai. That answers 4 questions. First, what is your passion? What are you really good at? What allows you to earn a living? And what allows you to contribute something to a society? And the intersection of these 4 questions, if you find that in your job, that is a calling. That guarantees life satisfaction. If you do what you love, what you're good at, what allows you to make money and allows you to contribute something to society. And I think my job is exactly that. I love it. I think I'm good at it because I love it. I love teaching, so I love developing students, contributing to their careers. I also love helping companies to become more successful, and it's also a well-paid job.
Professor Kurt, allow me to bring you to that moment that you found out the calling. Okay, because the purpose of this conversation is to help people to realize their moment of calling. Right? So at young age, you love sports. You love soccer, football. You love a lot of like sports, right? And then and that impacted your grades. Also, your mother was worried, right? And you went to the business administration, where with the hope that one day you're gonna get out and make a living, make money and having a good life, right? And during that transition, there's something shifted there that leading you to realize that, oh, maybe you have a love for something else, the love for teaching, the love for contributing to the lives of others. That's the ikigai moment right there. So tell us what happened at that time for Professor Kurt to change the career territory, trajectory completely?
Okay, that is a very good question, and it was not a very specific moment. It was more a process of discovery.
Oh.
When I started to study business administration at the university, and when I had to write the first papers, I had to go to the library to do research there, and I really loved it to learn, to do research, and I spent every day hours in the library, not only to write my papers, but just because I was so curious to find good books, to find good papers to read, etc. So it was more a process of discovery. Mm-hmm. And then I also had a mentor. It was my former professor, and he was a role model for me. He was a very nice, a very kind person, and he also supported me so much. And I saw how much he loved his job and how much satisfaction he got from his job. And so it was a process of discovery. It was not a very specific moment.
Wow. Wow. And then from that discovery, a lot of people were like, wow, they like it just a little bit, and then they drop the ball. But then you committed to it, and then you have a whole new career that really, amazing. Okay. 25 years ago, you found, you got the thing coming full circle where you put cycling onto, sport onto the equation again. So what happened 25 years ago that bring you back onto the love of sports and bring it back onto your profession?
When I was a student, I didn't practice any sports. I focused so much on studying, and I also did very well. I got very good grades at university, and that allowed me later to become a researcher and to do my PhD and become a professor. But I haven't done any sports at all. And I didn't miss it when I was a student, but when I graduated and when I started to work at the university, I had some friends who were much into sports, and they convinced me to buy a bicycle and to practice sports with them, to go cycling with them. And then I rediscovered my passion for sports. So, and I also learned how important sports is for you, for your work-life balance. If you work so hard, and at the beginning of my career, I really worked very hard, up to 70 hours a week, 80 hours a week, and sometimes more. Very late in the evening, I was still in the office. So when I had a weekend off or so, I really needed that. I realized that I needed physical activity. And I also learned that sports helped me to refresh my brain, to clean my brain, and to see things from a different perspective. And, I also discovered that when I did cycling, I had my best ideas also for work. I had those flow experiences when you do something and you lose the sense of time and space, and you're just into something. And sports turned out to be a very, very important activity for me.
So it get you to the stage of flow.
Exactly.
Okay. But Professor Kurt, sport is important, we know, but you took it into the extreme level. So it's become extreme sport. So What made you to take it to the next level and then keep challenging yourself from the cycling as a team of 4 across America, and now you solo cycling across the country like that? Why you took it on the extreme level?
Well, that also was a process. It was not a deliberate decision. I just started with some long distance races. My friends brought me into those long distance races. And then I realized I really love it. I have a passion for it. And I also realized I'm good at it. And so I never made the decision to become an ultra cyclist. It just happened.
It just happened. And then you wrote a book about the high performance mindset, and it's about the extreme sport that connect into the leadership world. And could you explain it to us so that we understand how these two worlds, be benefiting be together?
Yes. If you want, so a few years ago, I decided to do a race across America solo. And it takes years of training. So at least 5 years of training for this particular race, because it is so hard. So to give you some details about the race so that you have an understanding what the challenges are, it's you have less than 12 days for those 5,000 kilometers. I finished it in 11 days and 5 hours, and that means per day on average 432 kilometers on your bike, 3,400 meters of climbing, about 15,000 calories burned every day, and every day on average about 2 hours of sleep only, more than 20 hours on your bike per day. So this is Race Across America. This is the challenge. And it's very similar to some business and life challenges. You have a very tough long-term goal. You have to work very long. You have to train a lot to achieve this goal. And you have to motivate yourself during that time. And this is very similar to many business problems. You need to establish a goal, to set a goal. You have to develop the discipline to work hard to achieve this goal. And what I think most people that are healthy can do Race Across America. Absolutely no problem. If they are excited about this goal, this objective, if they develop the willpower to do everything that is needed to achieve this objective, and if they surround themselves with the right people that support you to achieve this goal. So it's all about the mindset. So if you have the right mindset, everyone can achieve the impossible. If you can dream it, you can do it.
So since you're an expert on that, and you already also a demonstrator of the high performance mindset yourself, define high performance mindset for us, would you?
High performance sometimes has a negative connotation because very often it is associated with a burnout, etc. For me, a high performer is every person that achieves something he did not believe that he could achieve. So if you set a stretch goal, something that is beyond what you believe you can do it, and you can achieve it, you are a high performer in my view.
So set a goal that makes us scared, beyond our imagination of what we could do, and that is a step toward becoming high performer and having high performance mindset already right there. So Professor Kurt, a lot of us with fear, let fear come in between when we set the goal is too far, too high, too ambitious and stuff like that. And that let us stop from where we could become. All right. Yeah.
It's a good point. You know, the goal must be so high that you're that you would think it's impossible. But at the same time, your intuition would say, maybe I can achieve it. So it must be difficult enough that it is motivating, but at the same time easy enough that you think it maybe be achievable. Then it is a stretch goal. Then it is an ambitious goal for me.
Both of the things that you were saying, qualitative approach, which is feelings, you know, it's big enough at the same time that is probably we could achieve it. So it's all feelings right there. So it's really hard to quantify and put in a number. So for you, how did you set that stretch goal for yourself when you first start that process of cycling across America?
First I have done it on a team of four times, which is a bit easier, of course. And then one day I realized maybe I could do it as a solo racer. I was not sure that I could do it, but once you can imagine something, it becomes doable. So if you can dream it, you can do it. This is how it started, how this journey started for me. It was not a very specific moment. It also was a kind of process where you push your limits, where step by step you set higher goals that are very difficult but still achievable. So it's more a process. You always try to push your limits.
When you grow up in your family, was there anybody that inspired you, the role model you for you to have the mentality of like break the boundary and try to reach the limit of yourself?
Well, in a certain sense, yes, because my parents had to work very hard to earn a living. And that is what I learned as a child. If you want to achieve something, you have to work hard. So working hard, being very disciplined, that is a value I learned from my parents. So there was not a specific role model or a specific person that motivated me. It's more, I think, the values I inherited from my parents.
And those like hard working and dedication and you mentioned earlier is willpower. Those are virtues that's very important for a lot of people. I want to talk about willpower in here because that for us to become a high performer and having a high performance mindset, right? Willpower is important. So what can we do to increase our willpower a little bit every day, every single day to make it large and larger?
Well, I think what you have to find, and I think this is the starting point, I also describe it in my book as the most important lesson I learned. It is you have to find your why. You have to find your own purpose. And when it gets hard and it does at Race Across America, because you ride through the desert, 50 degrees Celsius, 3 mountain ranges, very long stretches, sleep deprivation, pain, etc. So when it gets really hard, sooner or later you ask yourself the question, why do you do this? Why do I do this to me? And if you don't have a good answer to this question, it's a very small step to give up. So I still remember the first time I asked myself this question during the race was after the desert. After the third day, I have done 1,500 kilometers. I was totally tired. I was in the Rocky Mountains. It was raining. It was cold, 5 degrees. I was shivering. I was sleep deprived. And I was really suffering. And I started myself to ask the question, why do you do this? It would be so nice now to stay in a hotel, quit the race, and spend a few days as a nice vacation in the United States. And then the following thought came to my mind. I could easily quit now. It is my decision. It is my race. But children that have a polio, they don't have that option. They have polio for their lives. And what I'm going through now is nothing compared to what children go through when they have polio. And I have to do a job here. I have to finish this race because we are raising funds to eradicate polio. So I don't do this race for me. I do it for a greater purpose. And that was my why. And our motto was, we ride so that others can walk. We participate in this race. I participate in this race to raise funds to eradicate polio. And you know, maybe you know Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist.
Yes.
Who wrote a great book, Man's Search for Meaning.
Yes.
And in that book, he made the following observation. He survived 4 Nazi concentration camps in Germany during the Second World War. And there he made the following observation. Prisoners who still have something to do, who still have a project to finish, had a higher chance to survive the concentration camps than those that had lost all their hopes. And in that book he writes, those who have a why to live can bear with almost anyhow.
Yeah.
So if you have a why, if you have a greater purpose, you can endure a lot. So I think it starts with finding your purpose. If you know why you do something, if this is for a greater purpose, something that goes beyond yourself, you are capable of far more than you thought possible. Because the reason is, if you do something only for yourself, you know, the minimizing factor is always our own ego. If you do only something for yourself, it's also easy to say, I quit. But if you do something for a greater purpose, it's not so easy to say, I quit. If you focus on something that is larger than yourself, your ego is minimized.
Beautiful. And Professor Kurt, during your journey of growing and developing, at what stage, at what age were you able to find your purpose?
Well, in my professional life, I found my purpose when I did my PhD.
Okay.
I knew teaching, doing research, supporting companies, making them more successful, that was really what I loved. And then later, about 10 years ago, I rediscovered another purpose, and that was doing good with cycling. So combining cycling, the passion for cycling, with charity.
On what occasion that you were able to find the purpose for, you know, that put everything, all the puzzle all together beautifully like this, Professor Kurt?
You know, I'm a Rotarian, member of a Rotary Club, and Rotary in 1985 started its biggest project. It was the eradication of polio. And every Rotarian in the world is committed to contribute to this objective. So as a Rotarian, I was committed to this Rotary project, and then through cycling I found a way how I could raise funds and how I could contribute to this project. So this is how I came into ultracycling and into Race Across America and into charity.
Beautiful. And you mentioned that in order for us to have the high performance mindset, we have to be surrounding ourselves with the right kind of people, right? And I'm just curious, for a person, the high performer like you, who are the people that you are bringing into your circle of influence, Professor Kurt?
Well, it's mostly friends.
Friends.
And you know, forming a high performance team, what I have to say is, you know, if you do a Race Across America solo, you are the solo cyclist, but you have a big team that supports you. You have a follow vehicles, and I had a crew of 12 people. And you have to select these people very, very carefully, because your performance in that race depends so much on the people that are with you there, because when it gets, they have to support you, they have to feed you, they have to take care of everything, they are around you all the time, the follow vehicles are around you all the time, and it's also very hard work for them. So in forming such a team, I think it is extremely important that you find people that have the same passion for this objective, for this goal, and that share the same values. I love a quote by Antoine de Saint-Exupéry, who once said, if you want to build a ship, don't drum up people together to collect wood, and don't assign them tasks and work, but rather teach them to long for the endless immensity of the sea.
Wow.
If they are excited about the idea, there is no need to tell them what to do. They will find out what they have to do, and they will give 120% if they are excited about the idea. So forming a high-performance team first means you have to find people that are totally excited about the project, about the objective. Next, you have to make sure that they all share the same values. And I learned this from Ernest Shackleton, one of the greatest leaders of the last century. He led the endurance expedition to the South Pole, 1914 to 1917, which spectacularly failed. And, you know, their ship, it was the first winter, and their ship was destroyed by the ice around them. And they had 4 rescue boats only, so they had sailed to Elephant Island, -20 degrees, several 100 miles away in winter. They arrived there and there was absolutely nothing there, so Ernest Shackleton had to take 1 rescue boat, 4 crew members, and he sailed to South Georgia, -20 degrees again, 1,200 miles. And from there he organized 4 rescue attempts to save the whole crew. After 2 years, everyone was alive. But the interesting part of the story is there was not one riot, not one major conflict within the crew during those 3 years. And the reason was how he selected the crew. When he formed the crew, he posted an ad in the Times, in the London Times, saying men wanted for a very dangerous journey, small wages, bitter cold, complete darkness for several months in winter, not sure whether we will return, but honor and recognition in case of success. 4,000 men applied.
Wow.
Some of them were hopeless, but he interviewed many of them. And then he selected his crew members based on the following criteria. First, how well do they get along with other people? Second, how much optimism and humor do they have? And number 3, which skills do they have? So attitude and personality and character was more important than skills. And that was a very important lesson I learned, because when we hire people typically in companies, the first question is, which skills do they need? And then we hire people with the best skills. And we assume that we can teach them the values and attitudes they need for the work in our team or our company. So we believe hire for skills and train for attitude. But it does not work. You cannot change attitudes and values of people. What we have to do is hire for attitude and train for skills. That is easier. And that was my motto in creating my team. Find people that are excited about the project, about the idea of doing Race Across America, and are excited about the charity project. Second, find people that share the same values, and then they can learn the skills they need. So this is how you form a high-performance team and how you should surround yourself with the right people.
You wrote all of that on the book, The High Performance Mindset, also?
Yes, there is a whole chapter about it in the book.
Wow, I'm going to ask the next question, which is not going to be fair for you. But if you have to pick one chapter that you like most on that book to share with our audience, what would that chapter be and why, Professor Kurt?
I think we have already talked about it. It's about finding your why, your greater purpose, because that is the starting point. Let me come back to Viktor Frankl, who survived those 4 Nazi concentration camps in Germany, and with his observation and with his quote, "Those who had a why to live can bear with almost anyhow." He also observed that those prisoners in the concentration camps who had a why, imagined the outcome while going through all the sufferings and hardships. So they visualized the goal. So once you have your why, once you have your big objective, you need to visualize it. How will it be when I have achieved my big goal? You know, I had to train 5 years for this race. Next to my full-time job as a professor, I had to train 15 to 25 hours a week, which is a lot, 5 years long. It was not always easy. It was sometimes really hard. And during very hard training sessions, I always imagined how will it be when in June 2022 I will cross the finish line in Annapolis, when I have achieved my big goal. Because that visualization, if it is clear, if it is vivid, if you can feel it, if you can smell it, if you can feel the emotions when you think about it, that gives you a very strong motivation. So start with your why, develop your big objective, and then visualize your goal. And then there is another important lesson I learned. So visualize your success and see the future you want to create, but never think about how far you still have to go, because that leads to frustration. You know, if in Kansas during the race, I start thinking still 2,568 kilometers to go, that really leads to frustration. Instead, set milestones and small wins and celebrate each small win on your way to greatness, on your way to the success. It's important to have big goals, but it's also very important to break those down into very small milestones, many very small wins that give you a sense of achievement, so that you see that you're making progress.
Wow. So visualize success, right? Visualize the future, have the feeling, the tasting, and everything of that, and never think of how far you're gonna get there, because it will scare you. But then think about the small success along the way and celebrate it with the right people in your team also. That would be really, really wonderful. Beautiful. Professor Kurt, everything that you do, you touch, you work on, came out really, really beautifully successful. You know, the book you wrote becoming successful, best-selling books. The people, you know, the journey that you took is successful, and it's a beautiful journey that generating, you know, things for a purpose, bigger purpose also. So, how do you feel every day?
Come back to what you said. You said everything you do. It's not so much that I do, but what I do right.
Do right.
You know, in strategic management or in strategy, I think there is one very important lesson. Learn to say no. Strategy is a lot about saying no. Deciding what I don't do. Because there are so many temptations every day. You can do so many different things. And having a strategy means you have a goal. And then every day you decide, what do I do to achieve this goal? And you don't do what doesn't lead you to this goal. So I don't do so many different things. I do a few things only, but I try to do them well. And I have one motto is every day when I go to bed, I want to have the feeling that I have made a little progress. In my job as a professor, for example, I have the objective to learn everything, a little thing. To learn every day a little thing. So learn one thing per day is one objective. If I have achieved it, I'm satisfied in the evening. The same thing with training. Every day I want to make a small progress. So that is what keeps me satisfied in the evening when I look back to say, oh, today I have learned this. Today I have made a progress here. This is what makes me happy.
Beautiful, beautiful. In this conversation, I have just a few last questions for this conversation, because you mentioned one word repeatedly, which is the word think. Okay, my wife and I, we've been on the quest to help people to improve their ability to think, because we believe this ability to think has been diminishing for so many reasons. And if we can pick the people we interview and ask for their secrets of thinking, and whoever listens to conversation like that will be able to pick something to reflect, learn, and apply to their life. That's where improvement can make in their lives, right? So, Professor Kurt, how have you been growing your ability to think over the years?
Well, that is a difficult question. That is a very difficult question. I never thought about this. So, I think there are two things we have to differentiate. We have two systems in our brain. One is thinking deliberately, so conscious thought, and the other system is unconscious thought. We could also call it intuition. And I very much believe in intuition. Rely on your gut feelings. Because intuition is not a magical sixth sense. It's a very rapid, unconscious pattern recognition that comes with an emotion. So if you have enough experience in a field, very often you have an intuition which tells you this is what you should decide or what you should do, and you cannot really explain why. It's just a gut feeling. But this gut feeling is based on a lot of experience you have in a field. So many decisions I make are based on gut feeling, are based on intuition. And I learned to trust my intuition. But one important thing, rely only on your intuition if you have enough experience in this field. Because if you don't have enough experience, your mind is not able to recognize these patterns.
Beautiful, beautiful. Let's travel time one more time, okay? And I want to bring you to your high school. And that is when you were on so much on sport and your grade started to drop and your mom was worried, okay? And if you now travel to talk to your mom back then, so the Kurt now talk to your mom back then and say about your journey in the future to your mom, what would be the thing that you're going to tell her?
Well, back then, when I was not so good at school and she was worried, I never failed a class. Sometimes I was very close. But I was kind of very efficient because I invested just enough to pass. So I was never really at risk. So I think that I kind of knew what I had to do, and I invested just enough time to pass every class. And I decided to invest the rest of the time in sports or other activities I considered important. And I would In hindsight, I think, and this is one of my greatest mottos or discoveries, is if you can dream it, you can do it. If you find the passion for something, you will become good at it. And, I just needed some time to find out what my passion is. It was not at high school, it was later at the university.
So that's what you're going to tell your mom?
That's what I would tell her, yes.
And what would she say to you?
Well, she, when she was worried, she did let me know, but she also gave me the freedom to pursue my interests, and I think she tolerated it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Professor Kurt, the last question is a word of wisdom that you can think of, you want to give to our audience to close the conversation. So if you can think of, require your life and your experience, the people you meet, the challenge you got through, and, all of the achievements you've been having, and then you just want to tell something to our audience about living, about working, about experiences, what would, you tell our audience?
Well, another motto of mine, and I really believe in it, and try to practice in almost everything I do, is always try to combine what is useful for you with what is pleasant for others, or the other way around. Try to combine what is pleasant for you with what is useful for others. That makes you first very efficient, because you pursue two things at the same time. You pursue your self-interest, and you combine your self-interest with the interest of other people. And I think that is a secret of success. I have done it with cycling. I combine the passion for cycling with charity. I also do it, for example, when I train on my indoor bike. I have to train 2 to 3 hours per day, a lot on my indoor bike at home. And when I train on my indoor bike, I do my reading work for my job. So I combine training with working. So try to combine in everything you do what is pleasant for you with what is useful for others.
Wow, beautiful. Professor Kurt, I've been having a wonderful conversation with you, and I believe that our audience will enjoy the insights, the stories that you share in this conversation, and I'm thankful for you to spend your morning to join and to share your beautiful stories and wisdom with us. I really love to see you in person, and I know that you are going to another solo cycling in 2025, right? Yes. Yeah. So I wish you to have a wonderful team, had a wonderful journey, and keep us updated on the progress, because whatever that you do is always for the greater good of other people also in that equation. And we are here to send the love for you, to support you on that path. Okay?
Thank you so much. It has been such a pleasant conversation, and also kind of discovery of myself via your very good questions.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Okay, so I see you later. I see you around, Professor Kurt.
Thank you so much.
Have a lovely December. This is the month of Christmas, and also New Year's coming. So Merry Christmas in advance, and have a Happy New Year to you, to yours, and to all the people around your life. Okay?
To you as well. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.